Hey, let's talk about marking up a snare drum and getting it to a point where it's kind of like got a built-in user manual for a kid to use. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to mark out the different dynamic spots that they're going to play. So basically piano, mezzo forte, and forte. And I'm going to tell you why I wrote it there. And it's not because this is the piano spot and that's the forte spot. It's not that. I'm going to tell you that a little bit why. First thing, get a drumstick or get a ruler, and I would draw lines like this and draw a few of those. Find where the center is and really get it there. And then I'm gonna take this right here, this ruler, and I just like to work in centimeters, sorry, for all you standard people. Come off, and it's about, do this about 4 centimeters from the edge of the drum. It's right there. That's where I put that piano spot, and from the center, 3 to 4. And what I really want you to do is for the non percussion people, just that's where it is. But you can just go and you can tap right here and really find where that spot is. And let's talk about what happened. The closer I got to the edge, the more overtones and higher pitches in the sound I exaggerated. The more I got here, the more fundamental I got, and the more throaty the sound got. So higher fundamentals, throaty thud. So overtones, thud. Listen again. Until I got to that center point. That center point's a node in the sense of that's a spot where the drum doesn't vibrate. It's the center of the trampoline and it won't vibrate very well right there. So actually playing in the center of the drum is not a good spot to play on at all. So right here, about 4 inches off, generally 4 centimeters off, that's where that good first spot is for piano. So I would mark that right there. So on my ruler, it's got an edge on it, so it's 3 centimeters plus the one there. So it actually says where it's 3, but that's 4. Now, right here, coming off the center of the drum, so if you've done the thing and you've marked where your center is, come about 3 inches off of that. And that's where I put my forte. I sat and I played it, and I played really big. If I played loud right now, it would play over the microphone. But just play nice big forte sound and play it over here, and it's gonna sound really thin, and play it there, and then play it like right in the center. It's gonna sound like it's gonna sound like a popping sound, like you popped it, and then come out just about 3 centimeters, and it's gonna sound pretty good right there. So that's where I like that, 3 centimeters off. Now, for these other guys, split the difference. So I just kind of eyeballed it and put these guys in between these 2 big spots, or this spot and that spot. So actually forgetting this spot. I put my piano and my mezzo piano and my mezzo forte about equidistant, splitting that difference right there. So that's the whole big thing. Why do we play piano right here? Well, we want a thinner sound and we don't want it to be heavy and thuddy. So if I play with 2 hands for a second, I'm gonna play with my orchestral sticks. Those are my drum set sticks. Now there's no reason why I can't play that same thing right here. It's just gonna sound more heavy and more authoritative. So that didn't really resonate. It wasn't really that nice. But with the snares on, maybe I want that sound. It was a little too dry for me, a little too thuddy. But if I want the commanding sound, maybe I want that, or maybe I want it here. That lends itself to playing softer. And so working its way over here, I'm not gonna play really loud right now because it's gonna overplay and it's not be worth it on the camera. But playing really big and forte right there, that's where it's gonna sound great. Now, we're not done. What I really suggest you do is do this. Take a Sharpie and pull that out. If I'm looking straight down, I'm gonna make a little V. I'm gonna go like that, and I'm gonna go like that. And you can make it pretty big like that and pull it about, 2 to 3 centimeters, whatever. Do the same thing here. You're gonna see why we're gonna do this in a second. And I would just go ahead and mark it, piano, mezzo piano, mezzo forte, and forte, okay? So, why did I do that? Well, there's this whole Pittsburgh school of thought. I think it's called the Pittsburgh, I can't remember, it's been a couple of years. But in the 80s and the 70s, they were figuring out this way of doing snare drum rolls. And so they figured out 3 bounces is best. Like they actually really sat there and it's like, should it be 4 bounces? Should it be multiple bounces? Blah, blah, blah. And so there's a really big, large school of thought of that a snare drum, an orchestral snare drum roll should be 3 bounces. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's the most efficient amount of like me putting energy into it and getting that most balanced sound. That's the best one. Now, let's talk about how a ball bounces. The first bounce, this is the ground. So if I'm coming, the first bounce is big, second bounce a little bit less, and a little bit less, and a little bit less, and a little bit less. So if playing closer to the edge is going to be softer and playing closer to the center is a little bit better for louder, and for a snare drum roll, I want one smooth sound the whole time, it'd be cool if that ball was actually bouncing the exact same height every time. Now replace ball with stick. Make sure the stick is bouncing at the same time. But it's not going to work like that. It's really hard to do that. You can do a little bit of the hand motion and stuff like that and do your fingers, and it's really good that you do learn how to do that, but that's some advanced stuff that not necessarily middle or even high school kids would be getting. So why don't I do my 3 bounces and put the loudest bounce in the softest spot, the middle bounce in the middle, and the softest bounce in the loudest spot. So travel towards, in a sense, the center of the drum. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I try to do that as best as possible and demonstrate on the video. But your kids, have them come like this. And hopefully it speeds up to. And maybe a little bit louder. Now, truly, I only do the 3 bounce roll at these 3 dynamics, the mezzo piano, the mezzo forte, and the forte. For the piano, when I was doing school and did a performance degree in percussion, that was a multiple bounce roll. And that was really like, we would sit there and we would count, we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we were trying to get up to 10. You know, and like getting 6 or 7 was okay, was not the hardest, but then getting past 7 was hard. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, like trying to get it to really bounce a lot. So really at the piano, it should be a multiple bounce roll. And after mezzo piano, it should transition into just being 3 bounces up and up and up. And then the way you really get the louder dynamics to happen is the bass stroke of the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, the ones, you have to speed the ones up. And so you still have to fit 3 in there, but the 3 have to be faster. And so it's not you change to 2s or something like that. A 2 bounce roll or a diddle is something for rudimental. And so if you do marches, you should have the kids play marches, but place the loud one in the soft spot and the soft one in the loud spot. And so they're pulling always to the same spot. You shouldn't have a kid play like this, like that, and get 2 really different spots, because then you have a thinner sounding drumstick and a thuddier sounding drumstick because one's closer. Because all it comes down to is, even if that one's there, that's the distance they are from the center. So you have one stick playing it. Yeah, that's not what you want. You want, they don't need to play in the exact same spot, but they need to play really close. So that's the idea. I really suggest this, and tell the kids to pull towards the center and pull towards the center and pull towards the center and come in like this, okay? And this is their different dynamics. That is my suggestion for how to mark up a snare drum. Thank you.